call between the Independent School District of West Burlington and the Burlington Community School District. And to my left is Larry Duncan, the president of the West Burlington Board. And I would like to, if Larry agrees, we're going to try to run this together. We've been getting along pretty good, so I don't look for any fist fights between us. And I think we can do this. What I'd like to do, if Larry agrees, is start over there and with Jim Slicer. Just go around the table and introduce everybody so everybody knows. Would you start that, Jim, and just give us your name?
Okay. I'm Jim Slicer, the West Burlington Superintendent.
Alan Tweed, West Burlington School Board.
Vicki Christie, West Burlington School Board.
Chuck Gorsh, West Burlington School Board.
I'm Larry Duncan, as Tom said, and Mike Walters was at a meeting earlier, but he got called to SEC on an ICM program or something, and he was hoping to be here, but he isn't here yet.
Linda Garwood, Burlington Community School District. Gail Boyd, Burlington.
Joe August.
Al Park, Burlington.
Steve Springsteen, Secretary.
Steve Swanson, Superintendent of Burlington. We have two board members unable to be here tonight. Henry Lundy, who has resigned, but July 1, and Mr. Holt, who's out of town.
And that's maybe appropriate because the Burlington Board is 7 members and the West Burlington Board is 5, so now we're even. I don't know, are these agendas out? Maybe that was us. Anybody out there? The agendas, let me run through the agenda quickly after the call to order and the opening comments. The discussion topics tonight are the sports activities sharing, the academic sharing, especially personnel, possible sharing or whatnot, vocational schoolwork community advisory committee, and anything else that might come up. I'm going to try to keep this fairly informal, and there will be a point in this meeting where anybody here within reason can speak. I'm going to get carried away with that. If I get 40 people keep coming to mind, we'll probably stop, but I would hope we can get a pretty good idea of what you all have on your minds. Keep that down. So with that, I don't know for sure where to go next. I guess, Larry, do you have any comments you want to start off with?
I guess basically, Tom, we're all here, I think, and hope for the same thing, for what's best for kids. And I think if we kind of set the tone with that and try to keep that in mind and just try to do what's right, I think that's best.
I think I'd agree with that. I know that the only thing I know for sure about all the people in this room is that we're all trying to do what's best for the kids that we represent. Gail Boyd has asked me if she can make a couple of comments now. Gail, and when Gail's done, if any other board member from either board wants to do the same thing, we'll do that too. So Gail.
I told Tom on my way in that I spent 6 hours in the car today by myself, which is probably, and my board members know that there's a lot of thinking time there. And so I had a lot of time to really reflect on tonight's meeting. And I've been on the board for 9 years, and so I'm the most senior person on our board anyway, and I don't know how that works with your board. Who's the most senior person on your board?
Chuck.
Chuck? How long's it been, Chuck? 9. All right. Anyway, today I was reflecting back on the last 9 years, and I don't think these two boards have ever come together by ourselves. We've had county meetings together, and we've met at ABLE educational meetings from the School Board Association, and we've had some interaction there. But this is a first as far as the last 9 years goes anyway, and I think it's a really positive kind of force here tonight. I thought maybe it would be a good idea before we get into the discussion items to really think about philosophy. And I could sum up my philosophy on why I'm on the board and where I think boards' responsibilities are and what the Burlington vision is, but I'm not so sure about West Burlington's vision. And I wondered if it would be appropriate right off the bat, before we start talking about detailed topics, if we could share each other's philosophies. Really, what's important to you? Where do you see West Burlington going? And I could do the same, or the rest of the board can do the same. But at could establish some kind of common ground. Tom and Larry have established that we're here for kids, and I know that that's the case. But I think if we talked philosophy, I think we might find that we're more alike than we are different. And even though the size of our school districts vary a great deal, I think we are more alike than we're different. And so, Chuck, what's your philosophy?
Well, you share yours.
All right, I'll share mine.
That way we know where we're going.
All right.
You've thought all day and I haven't.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, I see boards of education as having two major responsibilities. One is that we're elected by the voters to manage the financial resources, your tax dollars that come to the district to educate kids. That is a major responsibility, and we have to be really careful about that. The other major responsibility we have is that we are given the children in our district, and we're supposed to feed, care, educate them, prepare them for tomorrow's world, and get them into the workforce and make them successful citizens. Those are two huge responsibilities. More than that, I think, and it's my philosophy, and I hope my board agrees with me, that our responsibility as a school district then is to also look at the community and see how the Burlington, West Burlington community is going to look in the next 20, 30 years. And how do our educational systems really prepare our community for the best quality of life that we could possibly have? How do we retain students here? How do we make it a place where people want to stay and grow and raise my grandchildren? Those are major responsibilities that I see, and that's my vision for where we're going as a board.
Yeah, I'd have to agree probably 100% of what you said. And I think as a board, we have the responsibility to, like you say, to manage the tax dollars so that the term I guess I've heard getting the most bang for the buck. And sometimes that may mean that we don't do what I myself as an individual would prefer, or my neighbor as an individual might prefer, but what we do is what's best for the entire population of our community. Also, sometimes we do that because we have to meet state mandates and do things that the state tells us that we have to do that doesn't really fit in what we want to do or need to do in our community, but thanks to some guidelines we have to do it. And I think not only nurture those young people, but I think prepare them for life, and that takes some vision, that takes some looking out there beyond where we're at, because those of us that are products of graduating in even the late 70s, 60s and 70s find that the things we were taught in school, the approach has to be different today because the education is different, and the needs are different. And I think we also need to meet those needs in the best way possible for the money, no matter what it takes. Whether it takes a different concept of teaching, whether it takes a sharing program, whether it takes a commitment of personnel or money or whatever. I think we've got to do whatever does the best job for meeting the needs of those kids. And some of those kids have some special needs. We have families today that don't have the family life that we had when we were growing up. We've got a lot of non-traditional families, and we've got to gear ourselves to meeting some of those needs too. And I think that's where we're going.
Chuck, do you think the students that come to West Burlington look just like the students that come to Burlington?
Probably. The same ones that Dan drove and everywhere else comes up. You know, I guess that's the thing that amazes me. I do a lot of officiating, and no matter where I go, I see the same kids, just in a different little package. I guess the thing that really got to me was last year I was officiating up at L&M, and they had their homecoming dance. And we didn't get dressed as a crew and out of there before they started their dance, and we had to go right by their dance. And our principal, Bob Bowen, is in our officiating crew. And Bob says, well, I guess I could stay and chaperone this, and I'm used to it, you know. And the rest of the crew said, we don't remember what it's like to go to a dance, let's get out of here. But it's true, you know, that things are just the same. Our kids are the same no matter where we are, and I think that's important.
Well, now that we're the same, let's do it.
I'm interested to know. Yeah, first of all, I'd like I'm just interested to know how wrong with philosophy, how, we're 9 times bigger than you guys. I'm interested to know how you feel about us. I went to a little school, Wapello, about the size of West Burlington, a little smaller, kind of around that side. And Burlington was always the big bad you guys. Do you guys still feel, do you guys feel that way about, because we're so much bigger, do you feel that way about us, or? You know, and yet we know each other because we're so close. I just wonder how your board feels about that.
I don't know, as a board, I'll just give my own personal. I grew up in a small community of Washington, which Burlington and Washington were in the same conference for my whole tenure. And we were the small kids on the block then. Burlington was a big school, Tubman was a big school. Yeah, the size, I think, is more drummed into by parents. You know, you get bigger schools, so they ought to have a better team or this and that. And then it's always about athletics. Washington is a much bigger school than what West Burlington is, but I thought it was a small school. It didn't seem to make any difference to the kids. As us kids, whether we were competing in football or track or basketball, you might want more games. I don't think it made any difference in how hard we played. Burlington wasn't in the same conference the last number of years, but Tubman still was. The school of Washington won the basketball title 10 years in a row. So I don't think size is just totally I think you've got more to choose from, so you probably have more in the band or more in this and that. I don't think size is, if you're talking about athletics or if you're talking about even academics.
We have to realize that we all probably have basically the same size classrooms. Now, whether we've got 10 classrooms or 100 classrooms, our kids are only going to know a certain number of kids close and personal. That's the way with us. We only know a certain number of people close and personal. But yet, they know those people very well. They're very good friends. And so the kids in my neighborhood have friends that go to Burlington, some go to Notre Dame. I don't think that's an issue unless mom and dad make it an issue. We've been in a sharing program now for 7 years with Notre Dame. And we were talking, in fact, I talked Sunday night, we were talking about the fact that Tuesday night, our boys played baseball against them. Notre Dame hit 2 home runs, and one of our boys hit 1 home run. And the mother of the boy that West Burlington hit the home run, she says, well, you need to get home because you got to go to work in the morning. She said, what do you mean go home? He said, I and the 2 boys hit home runs, we're going out and have a celebration. I mean, they played against each other, but there's that kind of friendship. And I think that unless we as adults make it a negative thing, it isn't.
I guess I'd say along the same lines like Chuck was saying, kids are kids. And I know I worked with the church youth group, happened to be in Burlington for a number of years. And you know, we had kids from West Burlington, kids from Minneapolis, and we had kids from Burlington. And yeah, we talked about different things, but you know, kids are some kids. So I don't really, I think we still get back to the basics. It's not really
I tend to feel the same way, and I really feel it's the adults that place more of an issue on it maybe than the kids do. We all have very good school systems, very good programs. We're all proud of our own school districts. But the kids are still the same. They learn the same things no matter where they go. They have friends in Burlington, Danville, and Minneapolis. It doesn't matter where, they all come together. I don't think the kids have a problem.
Somebody over here. We're not, it doesn't matter.
Well, I'm really truly, if I sit here and look at this today, I kind of sit in amazement because I'm really not a native of Howard, but I'm a citizen. I've been here for 29 years. And my 29 years that I've been here in the city of Burlington, I also worked with the IAAP for many years. It always tends to be some type of animosity between the two government and party. And I was amazed at that, how you can drive right across out of West Burlington, Burlington, and West Burlington. And to me, as I worked in the IAAP, I could hardly see the difference in the people that I worked with. the same people, same folks. And I don't know how it ever got to be this bad. I haven't researched it. I haven't checked the background out of it, what's historical about it, how you got this way, how you got so far apart. But you really are far apart. And this is not good for people. This is not good for children. It's not good for community. It's not good for governmental bodies that close together. It's not good for, if you want to say, God's people, those people that are called by his name, to live in separatism. This is something that I'm glad to see, and I've lived long enough to see it in the city of Burlington. Even though we might walk out of here tonight in disagreement in some areas, we will have accomplished something. The first step has been taken here. And I would call it a historical moment, a step in the right direction, even for city government to follow in the footsteps of what's happening here today. I believe that every person here tonight and those that are listening in should want to be a part of making this a better community all the way around. And we should be about putting forth every effort that we can, because our children are facing serious consequences in the future. And that is job opportunities out there, the grade point average is going up, skills and ability, demand, and things are much higher than it was in my days, and some of our days that we're sitting here today. And we need to do more than just talk about the issue. It's doing it. And whether it's consolidation of schools or whatever, we need to put a step in the right direction. Some movements we make, or we think about making, are going to be painful moves. They're going to be painful. We might not enjoy making that move because of some type of historical background or heritage that we're standing our principles on. But we're going to have to put those principles aside if they're affecting our young people in society today, and then move on with the issue. So whatever happens, I'd like to leave you with the thought tonight that we have made a step in the right direction. And that's the way I see it. And my prayers are for all of us tonight, that we do accomplish something.
Thanks. Yep.
I guess my question that I had all day that I got answered was when was the last time these two boards sat down and worked together? Not saying that it's sad that it's been this long, but when we talk about our children, you can talk about your own children, you can talk about somebody else's children, but pretty soon you got to talk about somebody else's adults. And I was been reminded, especially in the last couple of weeks, whether it's at Steamboat Days or on the job or anywhere in town, the opinions that the other adults in this community have, as far as don't you dare do this, and why isn't this being taken care of. I think for a first meeting, I would hope that everybody would understand that we're not going to part the Red Sea and solve the problems of world hunger. And I think the most important thing about having a first meeting is planning to have a second meeting. We're two groups of people. Each of us, no matter how big the community, we know about the same number of people. Each of our kids goes to school, and they know they have about the same number of friends, whether they go to a small school or a large school. I think we've had discussions on our board that the most important thing is not the size of the district, but the size of the class sizes. We can use that as a basis to break it down. The size doesn't become an issue. Children become an issue. We said we could bang for the buck is the issue.
Well, I think that what you're saying about kids not having a problem with it is true. One of my son's best friends is West Mayor's son, so I don't think the kids have any problem with this at all, probably the adults. And as Larry said, as Larry and I were chatting here a second ago, I think there have been some meetings, some joint meetings, but not like this. There have been meetings with all the boards in Des Moines County, is that right? Yeah. And so this is the first meeting for quite some time, maybe if ever, of just these two boards. The first item on the agenda is to talk about the sports activities channel. I know there are a lot of wrestling people. We're not going to vote on anything. please remember that we can't vote on anything. So we're just gonna talk about this stuff. And we've already, this board's already talked at some length about the wrestling thing at the last, the meeting when we tabled this. I think, Larry, the thing that was on the table was wrestling and swimming, is that right? And I don't know really where to go from here except to ask you, what were we looking at there? A couple of students, or is that what we were talking about at the time?
How many good swimmers do we have, 2 or 3?
Numbers would be minimal.
Wrestling, how many wrestling? 3, 4?
Is that right, about 3 or 4 wrestlers? Is that-
Probably under 10, I would guess.
How did this discussion come about? How did this start?
Very simply, Gail, parents of the children came and asked for our school if it would be possible for us to discuss a shared program with them. And we activated as the parents of the children.
And then Jim talked to Dr. Swanson.
Some of their parents talked, I talked to a couple of people who are here tonight, and also Tom Elmore, our athletic director, was a vote for some of the parents. And I told Tom that if there was to be discussion on a sharing agreement, that there was no board would need to send the request. And he contacted, I believe, your AD or your principal, gave them that information. And then I also contacted the Athletic Association to see how far we could push back the date for acceptance, and they gave us till August 1st.
You know, before we get into this, I hate to keep bringing up these broad issues, but I think we have to talk about open enrollment. I think we have to just put it right there out on the table and talk about it, because open enrollment has, because of the way it's set up, because of the way the laws are, it's put us at conflict with each other. I don't know of any other way to say it, but there is some conflict there. It seems like we're in a competitive environment. We're looking for kids for both of our districts. And how do we address that? Because once we talk about sharing programs, you know, it's going to get all tied up into open enrollment.
Gail, I'm not a board member, but if I can have permission.
Well, there's a lot of people in this room that aren't, Jim. Like, everybody's gonna be
Yeah,
talking
go
about this,
for
so
it.
just go for it. That's some way we're gonna figure anything out.
In the Des Moines Register on Sunday a week ago, they were talking about the Des Moines schools and listing some of the strengths and weaknesses and so forth, or things maybe not known. And it said that one of the things that they hear about all the time is they lose a lot of students to open enrollment. But did people know that they shared academics with 20 other school districts and actually brought in tuition-wise more kids through that process than they were losing out by open enrollment? You know, I guess I look at open enrollment has taken students from Burlington into West Burlington and so forth, and some of ours back the other direction. Our school funding is funded on a per pupil basis. Our financial concerns are there with the kids. Years who have financial concerns without the kids, we can put them all back in the same, in their resident districts, and we'd each have financial concerns. We fund kids, not programs. And so what we need to look at is say, okay, as long as open enrollment is here from the state, let's look at what we can do that can maybe provide better programming for both districts. You know, I've given this example several times. The store sometimes has a loss leader bring somebody in and they like it, and they come and buy everything there. And we get a lot of people who say they want to go to a smaller school that have never been in a bigger school. They move to the area and enroll their kids in small schools. You know, there's a risk that if there's sharing agreements and so forth, and they see, geez, the kids in that other school system are just like us and like those in a smaller school, that there would be a net outgrowth the other direction. So we can look at open enrollment as a hindrance to it, or we can look beyond it and look to see what we can do for the future. One more last comment, and made this at the chamber visioning session, that if Des Moines County wants to attract more workers and qualified workers in the future, we have to look at all of the school districts in Des Moines County as being team members. And it's good to have competition on a team, but you don't want adversarial relationships on your team, because as soon as one team member becomes an adversary of the other, then you weaken the whole situation. And if we can remain, yes, competitive, but cooperate for the best of everything, I think, then Des Moines County.
Of course, Jim, it's a little easier to have an open mind. We started this discussion, so I can't be quiet. It's a little easier to have an open mind when you're receiving 240 kids, enough to fill one elementary school, than it is when you're losing 240 kids. And I think some of the members of this board have wondered, with 240 kids, and I don't know how much money that comes out to, but it's probably well over $1 million, I'm sure. With that much money, some people have asked me out in the public, and I have to bring this to you, why don't you have enough to start your own programs as far as wrestling and swimming? That's the questions I'm being asked, and I'm going to bring them up here.
Let me speak to a couple issues and then we'll go on that line. Number one, I've heard this term, that open enrollment, that because we have gained the students, it's like we're the bad guy. Yet we've done nothing to bring them in. I mean, we it's not a recruitment thing. It's a choice of the people. And that bothers me, that it's always been approached, and it's not just this community. I've got friends in the Cedar Rapids area that they hear the same thing. And we've done nothing to bring this in. But number two, if we were to start our own program, I think we need to realize that would, if we're talking swimming, we're talking about an outlay of probably $150,000. If we're talking wrestling, we're talking about a program that would cost us somewhere in the range of, probably, to get started with all the necessary equipment, probably somewhere in the range of 14 to 18 to 20,000. And we don't know if it's something that our community would support as a program on its own. I was opposed when we first started our sharing program with Notre Dame in football. But I found that it saved a program. I mean, Notre Dame would not have a football program, and on our program we've been hurting without that. And like I said earlier, the friendship that's been developed between our boys is unbelievable. My boy today went out and played golf. 3 Notre Dame boys, and that's just the way the friendship is. And so for that reason, I really think that we can't, as a board, we can't support spending $180,000, $200,000 for a program that if we can share with somebody else and at least find out if it's working. And that's why.
Can you see the point of view of this board when they say, we bit the bullet, we raised the taxes, we did the things we had to do so that we have attractive programs? Why should we let a student have it without open enrollment? Can you see the point there?
Yes, and let me say this. When we share with Notre Dame, they furnish a coach, they pay some expenses, and that cuts costs down on our program. And that's what we would intend to do, to share the expenses. And it may not be the $100,000, but it would be at least above and beyond what it costs you. And that's where we're going. I think I'm speaking for all the board totally. We feel that way. We're not asking for a free ride.
Let's go back here a minute and talk about our 2 school districts again. Burlington's 4A, West Burlington's 1A?
Because those 4.
Oh, 1A, 2A? 3A?
3A and some.
3A?
No, aren't we?
1A and 2A.
1A and 2A. Okay. We have roughly 5,400 kids. You have
About 600 or so.
Okay. From a parent's point of view, I can understand how I might want my child to go to Burlington High School.
We share with SCC now.
Yeah, we have auto mechanics and auto body that we do with SEC as well. But I'm just saying, you know, is there an interest in pursuing anything in that direction and charge your administration to brainstorm what some of the possibilities would be and to look at them and bring back ideas for further discussion?
I think along the same lines, we've even talked about the fact that there may even be some duplication of programs that doesn't have to be. Maybe you may have some classes that have room for 5 more students, especially at the high school level or something like that, where if we only have 5 students in that class, why should we offer the program we offer the program if we